So hi everyone, today we're gonna learn about FXML in JavaFX. Before learning FXML in JavaFX, we need to know about what is JavaFX first. JavaFX is like the tool or software which helps us to build user interfaces. Like what does this user interface meant? Like with respect to databases or any other applications which have been built, we need a interface via which we can interact with that application very efficiently. If the interface is being command line interfaces or interface which is very difficult for us to interact, people will not use that application at all. So to make that user interaction even more comfortable, we use certain software or certain tools. In that, JavaFX is also one of the tools which helps us to make those user interfaces even more easy to use. The major focus for any so now we'll see what is FXML. Like I have told you, that FXML is like an HTML thing for JavaFX applications. XML, like this XML is also a markup language, which helps us to differentiate the business logic and the user interface application, user interface presentation. This FXML primarily focuses on designing a presentation look rather than looking onto the business logic. This thing does not even care about what is the logic might look like or whatever the logic might be. The primary focus of XML is to make it more beautiful, make it more attractive. That's what the major component or major thing or objective or feature, whatever it is. That's what for FXML. Major thing is for FXML. Then if you see why we need to use this FXML, like because like using this which makes us application even more look beautiful. That's what simplifying UI complexities. Need to make a application even more look complex in sense even more attractive, which has very good user interface. User interaction level is even more better when we use certain types of application which has complex logic being written for only for the presentation, like how it has to behave when I click a button, how it has to behave, how a color has to change, how it has to make like the present ourselves. That's what the major intent of this FXML meant. Modularity and reusability. Once I've wrote this code, it is easiest for me to take this code and use it for some other projects. That's one of the major. So we learned what is FXML by the use. So we'll see like what is the structure of it. Like what are the like how it has like in Java we have like at the first we have this packages we have to import and we have to write the main class instead of we have to suppose to write main function, all of this. In FXML it also has certain structure we are supposed to follow. In that we have a root element, a nested UI element, and additional attributes we're gonna add it. Root element is like the element which is written in the within angular brackets. For example, if you see here, it is an anchor pane, V box, H box, or border pane. Like there are certain root elements which have been present. Like for example, if I say V box is like one of the layout tools which is present in JavaFX. Like this helps us to create a also. Next comes the styling. Basically, I've told it's like a styling thing. FXML is like a styling thing, especially in HTML. Like it uses the basic formats of HTML along with that, it primarily focuses on styling the elements. Like in HTML, we have two types of styling, that is inline and external CSS filing. Like in basic HTML file, like for example, if I'm building a simple login page, like if I want to color it, if I want to make certain spaces, I suppose if I want to make that height and width something spaces and all, I'm gonna link that style tag in between the head part and I'm gonna define this is what it should happen. Or else I'll link the style link in the HTML head tag. Next comes the what is the essential thing which we want required. Like as I told, we need to follow the structure. The structure is what the meant. Like it has to have a root tag, attribute, and special attributes. Like for example, with respect to button, if you see the button will come under the root tag. For example, if I take a V box, inside a V box, I'll add this button thing. This button thing will become the attribute, will become the attribute. This special attributes is like this text on action or ID. This becomes the special thing or the special attributes which will even more define what this button has to do and what are the attributes are being surrounded to it. That's what this essential things meant. Next comes the organizing this FXML file. Basically, we store this FXML file with .fxml extension as you see here. That's what. Well, it's mandatory for us to give a name which is relevant to the program which we are writing, which is relevant. If it is relevant, it will help us to reuse those same codes in for some other program or some other projects which might help us. That's what we're gonna arrange them in folders or something like that. All of this, basic stuff which we have to know. If we are writing any program with respect to anything, we have to always give a name which is relevant to that program, or if you use any variables or constants or whatever functions or whatever it is, it has to be relevant to the program. And we will save FXML files with .fxml extension. Like controller integration is like the main file, like a Java class, main class. That is where our application logic and our UI elements get interacting together. Like what I have to like when I press a button, what logic has to what has to happen. That's what this controller integration meant. Like for example, if you see here in an example, here it is an example. Like this is how the controller program will look like in Java FXML. If you see, it is all everything is written under the inside the Angular brackets. I'm specifying, I'm calling the control package, layout package. I'm specifying what has to be the overall width and height of it. And also I'm calling those XML files and everything. And I'm specifying inside this comment thing, I'm going to specify. Here is an example. Like it is for this program, which we are seeing is for building a simple login page thing. If you see, this is the login view, which look like it will have a text field, label, password, and a button. Like a label will have as will be like welcome to login thing, and a text field like prompting the user to enter the username, password, and everything. And there will be a button. If I click this, what it has to happen. Like if you see, this is the overall logic. Like here is where I'm defining like what are the actions I'm supposed to perform. Like if I click the username and password, like what action I have to perform. All of this I'm specifying over here. If you see, I'm called all of those necessary things, necessary packages. Here I'm calling in FX. If you see here also, like I'm specifying the what is the event that is supposed to get happened. Like the username and password, I'll collect it, and from this get texting. After collecting, I'm gonna check whether the user is valid or not. Whether if he's a valid user, then I'll think show this message as login successful, welcome user. If not, I'll show another alert message that is login failed, username and password is wrong. That's what the alert thing will look like this. It will specify like what is the alert, like how it has to look like, everything. That's what a simple FXML, like this is how it might look like. Like if you see, if I press username and password, it will either show welcome or alert message which will show that your will look like. Like if you see the overall takeaway, like if you see throughout this presentation, we've seen about like majorly modularity, styling, clarity, maintainability, and controller integration. These are the overall takeaways we have been seeing in this presentation. Like I've told, modularity is like if we are using external CSS filing, like linking CSS filing or linking FXML filing, which helps us to use the same code for some other projects. Like seamless control integration is like we can integrate our UI elements and the application and the logic together. We can integrate them together and they will work efficiently. That's one more thing. And next comes the UI clarity and maintainability, which helps us to understand like